April 13, 1999, Michigan courthouse. A 70-year-old man stands before the judge. The moment of the verdict has arrived.
This is a court of law.
His name is Jack Kevorkian, an American descendant of Armenian refugees. The entire country holds its breath.
Dr. Jack Kevorkian preys on nothing more than a Mr. Ball.
Because Jack is known as a Dr. Death. He is accused of helping 130 people pass away.
Dr. Kevorkian with first degree.
And the most shocking part, he admits it without regret.
But he insisted he did nothing illegal.
In court, he says,
"Do you see a criminal? Do you see a murderer? Do you see what he calls a killer? If you do, then you must convict. And then take the harsh judgment of history, as I said. But even a harsher judgment of your children and grandchildren if they ever come to need that precious choice when they really do need it."
The story is far more complex than it seems. June 1990. A call comes into the police station. The calm male voice states, "There's a van in the city park. Inside, a woman who is no longer alive." Officers arrive quickly. They find the van. In the back, a lifeless body. Next to the vehicle, Jack and his sisters. But they don't take him into custody. Why? To understand this, we need to start from the beginning. Jack's family had already suffered tremendous loss.
My dad had just turned draft age, maybe 19 or 20 or something. Suddenly, they were conscripting all the Armenians into the Turkish army.
Most of his relatives did not survive. His parents barely escaped and fled to America. Jack grew up with two sisters, Flora and Marco, in a home full of love and care. He was exceptionally intelligent. Even before finishing high school, he was accepted into the medical school at the University of Michigan.
His brain was so superior, with so many projects.
He spoke several languages, had a sharp mind and a passion for science. But there was one unusual thing about him. Jack was fascinated by death.
You don't know where you came from, you don't know where you are, and you don't know where you're going when you die. Period. Never gonna know. Religion ain't gonna explain it, science isn't gonna explain it. That's all there is to it. And you've got to accept that fact. If you do, then death is its terror. It's part of life.
As a doctor, he studied organ transplants and researched what happened to the human eye at the moment of passing.
It had to do with transplant surgery. It was much harder to know back then when somebody died.
He examined body, took photographs of polyps during the final moments. Then tragedy struck his own family. His mother was diagnosed with cancer. The pain was unbearable. As a doctor, Jack knew exactly what she was going through.
She was really in pain. She would barely move and melted down to 80 pounds, and what a pathetic picture. And I said, "Well, you've had a toothache before, I suppose. Have you had a severe toothache?" Huh?
He and his sisters begged her doctor to stop her suffering, but the doctor refused. And that moment changed Jack forever. That's when he realized someone had to take on this responsibility. Someone had to help people find peace without pain. Jack placed an ad in a newspaper. Death counseling is someone in your family terminally ill. Do they wish to find peace? Call now. And soon he received his first call.
We're videotaping a conversation with Mr. and Mrs. Atkins.
Janet Atkins from Oregon. She had Alzheimer's disease. Her condition was worsening rapidly. She wanted his help.
Have I encouraged you in any way to do this?
No.
In any way?
Jack hesitated. Where should it happen? A hotel? A church? No. He chose a quiet city park. Inside his van, Janet took her final breath. Then Jack himself called the police. Officers arrived, found the van, Jack, his sisters, and Janet. But again, they didn't take him into custody. Why? Because technically he hadn't broken the law.
When the patient hits the switch, the saline is cut off at the same time.
Jack had invented a special device.
The machine automatically times 60 seconds to turn this one on.
The patient had to press a button themselves to release a lethal injection. The decision was entirely theirs, and so it began. America erupted in debate. The justice system faced an unprecedented dilemma.
And in the process, Kevorkian has raised questions about whether the very sick...
A person had died. Jack had been involved, but there was also a videotape interview where Janet explained her choice.
Have I encouraged you in any way to do this?
No.
Authorities arrested Jack and charged him, but his sister Margot immediately hired a skilled attorney, Jeffrey Finger.
So if there's any question about any legal proceedings, they should be directed to me.
Together, they prepared for a battle against the system.
For why I can't take a newspaper article into my client. What jail regulations are there that prevent Dr. Kevorkian from taking a look at this?
On television, opinions were divided. On one side, those who saw Jack as a dangerous man playing God.
Of religion, people who believe that it's God's will that you suffer and that you die the way God makes you do it versus enlightenment.
They pointed out how he smiled in a court.
Smiled today after a judge threw out first-degree murder charges against him.
On the other, those who saw him as a savior. His phone wouldn't stop ringing. More and more people wanted his help. Then came the next case.
What is your problem?
I have cancer of the pancreas and I'm blind.
And the next, and another.
I can't breathe, of course. And every day it gets worse now.
Don't you want to wait just a little longer and see if a revision?
I've waited 12.
For 10 years, Jack continued his work.
Point after over 100 patients I helped that this is going nowhere. Then I got to dodge people at night and hide away, and this is going nowhere. I knew history. I knew somebody had to go to prison.
1998, another patient, another choice. Jack always recorded interviews with his patient before their final moment. They explained their pain, their suffering, and why they had made this decision. But this time, he recorded the entire process. He took the footage and sent it to journalists.
And in watching these tapes, I get the feeling there's something almost ghoulish in your desire to see the deed done.
But this time, the system struck back.
I forced the prosecutor to arrest me.
Prosecutors charged him again, and Jack made a shocking decision. He fired his lawyers.
Are you dissatisfied with the services of your attorneys?
Yes.
He would defend himself because, as he said, he had to go to prison to prove his point. In court, Jack spoke with conviction.
If I am convicted, I will starve to death in prison. The issue's got to be raised to the level where it is finally decided.
And finally, the verdict was reached. Guilty.
That's the way the world runs. Advance is slow, and somebody gets burned badly.
At 73 years old, Jack Kevorkian was sent to prison. But his story didn't end there. Jack was a remarkable man. He designed round playing cards, childless bicycle, advertising visitors. He wrote 7 books. His paintings were exhibited and sold for thousands of dollars. Then, in 2007, after serving his sentence, Kevorkian was released on parole. In 2010, Hollywood told his story in the movie You Don't Know Jack. Kevorkian passed away on July 3, 2011 at the age of 83. Kevorkian believed that the right to die was a fundamental human right, one that no government should control.
Can you move your arms like this at all?
Chicken.
Yeah. Okay. Don't strain too much, Doc. Don't strain.
Conserve your energy.
Yes.
So you know you get a
Now he's
cramp,
getting cramps, right? Okay. We're not going to go any further with the physical.
He never doubted his cause.
I'm sorry. I have grandchildren. I need to leave, but I can't do this anymore.
But what do you think? Was he a hero or a fanatic?
You're not doing it to help him die. You're doing it to help him end his intolerable suffering.
Did he cross the line, or did he simply offer people a choice? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.